until the end of the month. So that made her custodian of the fund, and that made her manage the funds. If I end that to the 5,000 and put it in my pocket, and then say, okay, I will take care of her, her needs will become secondary. Because sometimes you go out, have you ever had money in your pocket and then you think it's a lot of money? And then you take it out and spend, take it out and spend. Then when you bring it out again, the 100,000 that was in your pocket is now 3,500. And then you begin to ask, did anybody take money from here? Does it happen to you? Did anybody take money from here? And everybody says no. You say, no, there must be someone who came here to take money. This money was more than this. Now, only for you to take out a notepad, begin to remember, okay, I bought this, I spent the money. That happens because we don't have budgets. Now listen, rebuke your self-created devourer. Every devourer is not of the devil. Sometimes when you harass him, he gets upset and says, this guy is disturbing me. I didn't cause this trouble. You were... I was in Australia, and they say I was in Japan. Sometimes these devourers are created by you and I. When you budget your funds correctly, there are things you will not spend money on. After budgeting your funds, and then somebody calls you on the phone, say, call me back. And then all he has for you is gist. You will remember that you don't need to call him back because you don't have money for a recharge card. All right? So we need to be conscious of all of these things. Budget involves knowing what is coming in and what is going out and to where. How much are we making this month? How much should we spend? Have that conversation. Now, sometimes, after some time, budgets can be reviewed. Right? Budgets can be reviewed. If you have to buy fuel, you should know how much fuel is, how much fuel you should use, where you shouldn't go, and where to go. At the end of the day, you will not be making unnecessary journeys, unnecessary phone calls, unnecessary expenses that you don't need. And then you'll be able to save some funds. All right? Now, let's see this. A budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Money, this is where I want you to be spent. And then you do it. Religiously. If my wife wants to have a conversation with me and we haven't planned for that, she knows. This is not in the budget this month. Can we think about it next month? Right? And if it's not necessary, we'll cancel it. Okay? Okay, well, still on budget. Let's take a look at this triangle. Okay? This is how some people's budgets are. Okay? The triangle has a wider base, right? And then is more solid on its base. Correct? Now let's look at this budget. Most people spend more on their living expenses. Living expenses is not investment. As a family, you need to be sure what your living expenses should be per month. You know, I always say this. All of us have built houses here. The difference is that some of us have it in our stomach, and some of us have them physically. Yeah? All of us have built houses, but some of us have built more houses in our stomach than physically. Somebody was saying, I was telling somebody, I was cautioning him about what he eats, how he spends money on Kwabi, joints and all that. He said, oh boy, chop, oh, and the one where you chop, you carry go. All right? Now, many people take on a lot of debts. And then you begin to service debts. You spend monies you haven't earned. Salary is coming. Take IOU. And then you take salary advance. You take a loan to buy things you don't need, to impress people who don't love you, who don't even observe you. Right? extended family. Now, I call this budget priority inversion. What that means is this: you have taken your priority upside down. 45% of your income goes on living expenses, 25% goes on servicing debts, and then 30%, everybody in the family is calling you because you're in Lagos. And so everybody who has a problem calls you, and then you release money. I am not saying that you shouldn't help family, but you've got to be careful. Otherwise, you become an ATM machine. Solve real problems. Don't become everybody's source of... Now, this is a better budget. Because of time, I'm trying to hasten it up. Budgeting right, you've got to make provision for giving, 10%. Let's just say